The gin is cold, the piano is hot. Pick up your syllabi at the door. This is Foundations in Jazz 101. I'm Sandy.
And I'm John.
And this is your Smart Doll News.
So I'm ready for my master class. Let's do this.
I hope at least some of you got that reference.
It'll become clearer shortly if it hasn't already. We've got, I think as always, every time, I'm going to say this, we've got a light show tonight, not a huge amount of news, which means I'm sure we're going to have a really long conversation.
Because that's what we usually do.
I want to start with, two things. I want to start talking about our supers. And first off, we need to apologize.
We missed a week.
Yep, things got a little crazy, and we missed getting it up there last week. So this week does include some people who did help us out with both weeks, and they are
Ruth Casa, Janice Harding, Kiki Doll, Amy Zickerman, Angel Kitty, and Lee. Thank you guys. We love you so much.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate your support each week, and we hope that we'll continue to deserve it, I guess. So we are, speaking of which, I do always like to check in and let you guys know how, kind of how your contributions are serving the channel. Yes. We of course did purchase a 3D printer. I got so far as doing the test print, kind of messed things up a bit, replacing parts and getting things re-put back together. And then life hit us like a ton of bricks, and it's right now getting back into that is behind the Batgirl project.
Right.
Who's also behind because of life and the sort of surprise, release of Batgirl.
Right.
But I did want to give you a bit of a peek at what I'm working on. I'm trying to set a scene of Batgirl in the sort of rooftops of Burnside. And for that to work, I'm creating a one core set piece, which is a rooftop. So I have, some of you may have seen this graphic in a post on Discord, but this is the front facade of the building, and
that looks so good.
I need to make essentially the corner of a building, so I'm going to have to stub out the other wall, and I have made, I forget what they're called, but essentially the top piece that will go on here, and I've made one, so that's the important part. Quite honestly, this wall will probably be black, because it won't be on camera, but the top of it has to be.
Right.
So I'll be making that, and basically making a triangle corner of a building for Batgirl to stand on, and do some digital composition and put her, with like something that hopefully looks like Gotham in the background.
Yeah, so although we have unboxed Batgirl, we want to make sure we do a nice cinematic for you guys, so.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, I've been planning this for a while. I'm not gonna just put her out there without the cinematic. I gotta finish it. So, we hope you enjoy that when that comes out. If I can get, if I don't run into any more issues, I'm dealing with a lot of like warping of like things in the core, the foam core and stuff. Too much moisture. But if everything goes well, hopefully I can have that done and edited for this weekend. Otherwise, I'll probably just put it out as soon as we have it, basically.
Right.
So, shall we get into our news?
I think we should do some news.
All right.
That's what we're here for.
Headlines. We're going to start with, we always start with the most important stuff because, I know not everybody wants to hang around and for the long conversation. So we have the start of our news this week is the official Biomech introduction.
Right.
We've seen it. We've seen pictures of...
For a while now,
Yeah.
we've been seeing pictures of those boots. I think the start of it was an April Fool's joke. So we've been seeing it since April.
Yep. And so one of the cool things about this post, he's specifically explaining this heel socket design. We've seen pictures of it and could guess roughly what it is, but we actually get his real intention. You can see here on the back, there's actually a socket port just like is on the back of the Smart Doll.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, like, I'm just imagining, like, you know, Danny just playing around with things and going, oh, hey, if I put these things like this,
Yeah.
you know, like that would be kind of
Right.
cool. And I think these look like sort of, I don't know what they look like to you, but they're kind of like rocket skates or something.
That's what they reminded me of. Was that, like, look, there was gonna be some like kind of weird flames or something coming out of the back of them.
So this is actually the clickety-clack stand with the telescopic part pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
He does recommend the boot cuffs to go with this. Torn rags, lace, something around the ankles. We saw pictures of this. We were talking about what do you think about styling these boots and filling in kind of that empty space there with the cuffs?
I like it with the cuffs. I'm okay with it. I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about it with lace. I would have to try something like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me to have the boot cuffs on there.
I would like to see something more in rubber, industrial, something that goes more with the boots.
You know what could work is that I would like to see that we actually have some. I should have brought it down. It's the tubing that you use to, like, you can wrap packages with it and stuff like that. It's
Sure.
like that net and it's net and like sparkles usually tube that you
Yep.
can use instead of ribbon to tie on packages and stuff like that. I think that would look really cool, like as like a wrapped around ankles. The other thing that would look cool would be like the I keep everything. So I have, like, in my sewing stash, I have the cell phone, like USB cable covered
Yep.
stuff. You could wrap that around the ankles too. That would look kind of cool.
Yeah, I do want to take a moment and call out something in the chat. We normally try and catch this at the beginning. My guess is they weren't here yet or missed our message. Whenever, if you are watching, and normally people watch for a little while before they end up, you know, getting their first doll, at least, you know, whatever the week or two that it takes to get it.
Mm-hmm.
When you do get your first doll, let us know. Tessa's Kingdom just got their first Smart Doll, and they got Valiant.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Did you decide on semi-real or anime?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's always a tough choice for people just starting out. Like, which style really is calling you?
I want to say it was Tess that asked us last week,
Right.
but
right.
I could be wrong. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Either way, which did you decide? We'd love to hear. And it looks like anime. Very cool. Love those big eyes. So we have our 3D or our Biomech boots here. He goes through, of course, the typical reasons not to buy. Danny does this with almost everything. Some things to call out. As with most of the vinyl boots, they have a slit at the back. So this is not, like lace-up boots or anything that can be tightened. My guess is that these are going to be on the tighter side or on the more snug fit anyway. So it's just a matter of aesthetics from the backside.
So he says they won't stain because they are not made with any ink, but that dust can accumulate if you see anything dark.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen stuff like that. I mean, it's probably not that likely to happen with with vinyl or something like that. But it's stuff like dirt or things like that end up sort of transferring, and then they can kind of rub off.
Right.
So yeah, very cool. I mean, I do love his ongoing like comparison of what you could buy for this much money.
Yeah.
And in this case, he says you could buy several jars of Trader Joe's everything but the bagel sesame seasoning blend, 2.3 ounce. I was like, what is he randomly searching for to come up with this stuff? I also get all this, total Danny's, what sort of slightly absurdist, but still some fairly dry delivery, from his growing up in, in England. Even if you chop up the boots and sprinkle them on some nachos, the nutritional value will be close to zero. Those nachos will then be your last meal as your smart doll, who was watching you chop up their new boots, proceeds to make you into nachos topping. I was immediately thinking, well, forget nutritional value. Ingesting vinyl is probably not good for you.
Probably not, no.
So, very cool. What are you thinking now, Sandy? Are you on board with the Biomech boots? Can you see how do you see maybe using these?
They could be kind of cool used, like, for example, you did that cinematic of Survivor, our hero.
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool to see those with the Solar Marine uniform, like she came walking out of lava or something.
Right.
That could be kind of cool.
This is an interesting other shot here with an aesthetic. You've got the stockings and then the tripwire.
The tripwire
laces.
wrap looks pretty good. I don't mind that at all. There were two different boots shown too. There was like a version 1 and a version 2.
It's actually in the other pictures later.
Okay.
Here it is. I don't think it's a great shot, especially because these boots are so svelte. They're very form-fitted, and they are not left or right specific. They're completely symmetrical boots. Mm-hmm. They start to look a little tiny under the boot cut pants of the uniform here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely a different look than the regular Smart Doll boots.
You just kind of there's so much intricacy on those boots, you want to see them.
Yeah.
And the toes are a little bit on the smaller side. So I feel like this wants to go more up into a taller Biomech leg boot thing.
Gray ones made to go with the Gray Girls when they come out would be very cool.
Interesting.
So you could have
it was more skin tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have in their final bag. It's really interesting. I really like his take on the organicness of it, but the mechanical nature as well. It's very cool. All right. So that's the boot. And then we have kind of big news. It's the big news of the week, but we have the introduction or the official naming of Foundation, the Cleft Lip Girl.
Yeah, so I like the idea. I like the concept. You and I joked around that it would have been a neat sort of tongue-in-cheek thing to call Pride Foundation.
Right, the Acne Girl Foundation and the Cleft Lip Girl Pride, and they still would work for each other, and you get that sort of cheeky.
You get that cheeky wink at makeup foundation with taking it back.
Right,
is the kind of thing.
But great name.
Now, she is gorgeous. I absolutely love her. She looks familiar. Why does she look familiar, John?
That's because, as Danny points out in his post here, this is actually the face-up that was introduced previously as a prototype named Jazz. Here is her original picture that he had posted on Instagram. And you can see, nothing's changed except for the mouth, and he's added freckles.
Mm-hmm. I like her with the freckles. She's just got this, like, I don't know. And I like this shot that Danny took. I know this is like one of his typical shots that he uses for product photos, but I like this particular shot. She looks kind of windblown, and I don't know. There's something very natural about her, and I really like her.
Yeah. I am really impressed with this girl. I mean, he actually says, he makes the point to say, where is it? That must be early on. Where does he mention Jazz? There it is. Foundation was originally a prototype called Jazz. While she was cute and all, I felt she needed something to make her complete and more aligned with our values. She needed some imperfections. Now, she looks even better than before.
I think she does, actually.
Yeah, she does.
I love the character in her face. I think she's really, really cute.
She had, I mean, this is the cool thing. Like, we sort of harp on the, that a G7 is a G7 is a G7. You know, like they're all they all start to blend together a little bit. You've got to really pay attention to the nuances of the different dolls, and it's all in the eyes.
Right.
With these new frontline, what are we calling them?
Girls with differences.
Representation dolls. You're getting more dramatic changes to them, more features that make them even more unique. And I think in the first iteration of Jazz, she was very cute, and they were very unique eyes, and it's sort of the droopiness. But adding in the freckles and the cleft lip, I think really, like you said, it completes her.
Yeah, she's very, very cute. Or as when I first looked at her, I said, very, very cute.
Very cute.
That voice only comes out when something is very, very cute.
Yep. And that is our Squee moment of Squee for the week. She is just gorgeous. Danny, great job. Like, she is so good. And I don't remember. I can't even remember what the last iteration of the experiments of the cleft lip girl like.
She was
like.
On Fortitude. I think.
Oh yeah, or it might have been like a weird mix of.
Yeah. He said he used some of the paint masks from Semi-Real Fortitude.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's sneaky like that. So yeah, what do you all think of Foundation here? Is this, I mean, again, frontline doll, which means when she comes out, she's gonna stay out. So you don't have to worry too much about, like, you gotta have her now.
Right. So she's one that you can put on your list, and, maybe you'll get her for a holiday gift or something like that because she's on your list.
He is, as always, with the current representation dolls, as we've been calling them, is donating like dolls to organizations, so like hospitals and things like that, instead of just giving them out to anybody with the issue. But this is. Can we talk a little bit about? And I would love to hear from you all in the chat. How do you feel about the expansion of all of these representation dolls, all these, dolls with unique differences, and that it's almost like it's not just for people with those traits, right?
Right. No, it's for everybody. I mean, and everybody can have a reason to have a doll like that for their own, they just want something different. And I think that that's great. I think it sets Smart Doll apart from the Volks, which would be the major competitor, because Volks dolls are great. They all look so much the same.
Yeah, and Danny had stood out large. Like, Danny stood out. Smart Dolls specifically have stood out in a couple of ways, right? The stand port, which was very controversial, and everyone was like, why are you doing this? Certain aspects of no pre-orders, how he runs his business. I think this mission-oriented drive is really cool. Lee says representation is necessary. The more known something is, the less afraid or confused people are. And I think that's great. Like, just seeing, like, not just even having, it's fantastic, like, both sides, like you were saying, of not just people who relate directly to this, but also people who don't, and having dolls like this more widely out there and visible is very cool.
I think for the most part, people are also like, children are learning more about differences in school and from their families and stuff like that as our society has changed. And I think we tend to, like, little kids have no problem with this stuff and they think it's cool. Like, the people would love to have this doll. And then things happen as we get older where there's stigma comes in. And stigma needs to go away.
Aki Roku says, Smart dolls are the most inclusive doll line I know to date. The last thing I want to know is if Danny would make other shapes and sizes. I'm gonna say, I feel like it's totally up his alley, but there's a really big challenge for him for making more body molds and things.
Exactly. I mean, he's already, like, making Pocket Doll has been a very big deal.
Yeah.
I think it's something he would love to do. I'm not sure we're going to see it anytime soon.
I would wonder, I would love to see Danny do, I mean, you never want to see, like, research and stuff get thrown out the window and things like that, but Danny, I'm sure, does this all the time. But I would be really interested to see, like, a broad customer survey of, like, Pocket Doll, versus, like, another shape.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, he's already done multiple busts. So you can already get, like, say if you're someone who wants a curvier representation doll,
Sure.
you can already get a very large bust, right?
Yep.
And then there's people that make them third party, too. So the change would be in giving somebody a little extra fluff in the middle. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see whether you could pull off changing the shape of the torso, the middle part, the stomach, essentially, and keeping the bust the same.
I personally don't see it happening just because of Danny's desire to reduce the workload on his team so that they can feel free to create more. I'm not saying I personally believe from everything that we get from Danny that it's something he would love to do, but I think he picks his battles.
Yeah. Jenna M says, maybe one day, come on, Danny, us chonky girls need love, although that would be hard with all the CJ clothes being fitted for the OG bod.
Yeah, we would have to have plus size third party.
Nefertiti says, I think it runs the same issues that Barbie had when they did other sizes. People had to buy completely separate clothes, and kids couldn't mix and match clothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to, it's like representation is just a never-ending crusade because there's always more to represent.
Lee, can you highlight Lee's comment up here? She says, I want wheelchairs for dolls. I'll be getting my own wheelchair as soon as I can find one without breaking my bank. So he has talked about wheelchairs.
Yep.
He has always wanted to do a wheelchair. He has not been able to come up with a design that works for the Smart doll body the way he wants it to. But who knows, with the change in the frame and like with the interest in doing like all the cyber stuff, we may get a wheelchair.
My guess at one of the biggest challenges that he will have is, because I know like he likes things to to look a particular way. He does a lot of stuff to make things photograph nicely, like making clothes, let the hair through the head, piece or whatever, and like really making things sort of rigged in such a fashion that they're not necessarily realistic, but they look great for that purpose. And knowing that there's gonna be, just even having built stools for the Smart Dolls. Smart Doll legs are like unnaturally tall. And when you look at getting wheelchairs, you end up having to make a wheelchair that's unnatural, like weirdly big.
My solution for that, and I'm sure Danny has thought of it, but I'm saying it right into the camera right now. We need a Professor X style, like science fiction space, Professor X in space chair. Like the kind that's like a capsule that covers the legs and stuff.
Right, so you don't really see the weirdness of the position of their leg or something?
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like they're sitting normally, but they've got like this capsule around them. I think that would be super cool.
Well, okay. No, that doesn't make sense, because I was going to say, or you just take their legs off, but you can't
Well, that was something else I mentioned back in, like, if he was to make body parts that came apart.
Yeah.
Like, he's got that torso thing that he's making.
Yeah.
Right? So you could like plug it into the wheelchair.
You could basically, make but still, now we're talking about making other new, completely different body parts. I would think it would make sense if he transitioned to a body that the legs could come out like the arm, but
the cyber chest plugged into a cyber chair.
Yeah, well, sure. It would have to be like that, like totally different across the board.
I think it would be a nice, it would be fun. Kids that have wheelchairs would love it. Adults that have wheelchairs would love it, just because it's kind of cool. I know the goal is to probably have a regular wheelchair, but who wouldn't want a cool space age wheelchair? If you can't have one, then get one for your doll.
Kelly Poplar says knees like the elbow joints. That's actually a very good point. You could still, it's not particularly easy, but you can get very slowly, rotate and pull out the knees. So taking the bottom half of the legs off would probably be the route to go. And then you would stick there and you wouldn't have to worry about more things. But I'm sure his goal is to have one thing that any doll can just sit in. Like that, I think is, versus a completely custom chair, a completely custom torso for said chair that you have to buy and have to like the look of.
Right, so, all you'd have to do is bend the legs a little bit differently to fit into the chair, because they would be completely hidden, so they could actually look like they were sitting normally.
Yeah. There's lots of ways, and I am sure Danny has thought of many or all of these. It's we're just armchair designers here.
Yeah.
But very cool to speculate. And on that note, let's move on to one other thing that I wanted to, if I can get this, there we go. The other big piece today is the one picture we have for faces. And this is, I don't think, anywhere on the website or Twitter. It's only in his Instagram stories. That's right.
I actually mentioned this a few weeks ago. I want gray with a silver crack so she would look like Rock.
Relentless in gray with a silver kintsugi looks so good.
She looks really good. I like her a lot. I love her yellow eyes. I think she looks amazing.
Yeah, I cannot believe how good this looks. There's gonna be, it's weird though to me. We have multiple versions of Kabuki. I'm still not sure, like, that if we're gonna want this, like multiple versions of Relentless. But I don't know. What are you thinking, Sandy? And before you say thank you, Janice, for your super chat.
Thank you very much, Janice.
Actually, your sticker.
I like her. I think I want her in anime.
Right. We still haven't seen that. So we're still, everyone's still wondering, like, what the next dolls are. Like, when's Future coming and, whatever. And the last we did check, you're bringing out Future.
For our folks that like to see her.
Yeah, we didn't put up a doll this week. All right.
I put her in some cash clothes. And even in a sexy pose, she's still just ridiculously cute.
So... Anime Relentless is just like, I really can't wait to see her. Of course, we're still hoping that we would possibly get a non-Kintsugi version of Anime Relentless, because that face up is so good.
I love that face up.
Yeah, so many versions of this. This is, like, seriously, we talked about it when she dropped. She was the fastest selling Smart doll to date. We don't know how many he put out, but immensely popular.
Yeah. I will say about her, she seems like, like I have a hard time sometimes with the blue and stuff like that, with it being relatable. But Kanashimi is very relatable. Like, I can see her face. I can imagine things that she's thinking. Mm-hmm. She's actually, it's a very, she's the G7. She's blue. She's very, very relatable doll.
And there's something weird that happens with, Relentless is, she's somewhere in the middle between serious, and happy. But she has this there's this softness to her, and I can't tell if it's the Kintsugi that adds the softness or if it's just generally the face up, but having lived with her for a while now, Relentless is very cute.
Someone said, is that gray close to any of the Shadow High dolls?
It's
maybe the boy.
I would say it's bluer. I think a little bit bluer.
Maybe.
But it's a deep bluish gray. So very cool. I think the combination of for me, what does it, I think, is that big swoop across the for the eyeshadow, mm-hmm. and then the lower lashes, which you don't see that much.
Mm-hmm. I like the way the fold is done for her eyelid too, in that sort of soft gray brown color,
and that little tiny peak of purple coming in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's really cool. She's good, Danny. Like her a lot.
All right. Oops. If you are enjoying your time with us and like keeping up to date on everything coming out of Smart Doll Land, be sure to hit the like button, give us video a thumbs up to help it spread to more people, so that even more and more people will be able to see it come up in their feed and check it out as well.
We are getting so close to 2,000 subscribers, guys.
Yeah, and absolutely nothing will happen other than it's a cool milestone. And we love we love it when that first number ticks over. So very cool. We should also mention that if you want to join a community of like-minded doll collectors, you should definitely join our Discord.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of fun things on our Discord. You go to myladydisdain.com/Discord. You can talk about news all week, talk about crafting for your dolls. We also have off-topic conversations going on about anime and manga and, oh gosh, I don't know. What else are we talking about? You're playing D&D.
Yeah.
So when we talk about video games, so yeah, come on over and hang out with us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's growing every day, and we just love seeing every people take on more and more just like volunteering for like responsibility, I guess, but like to help grow the community in new ways. We're very grateful for it, and are happy to just kind of be stewards of...
Yeah, we love having all the people that have actually taken like somewhat ownership in the channel and supporting us. It's our little family that we're building, so we'll be happy to have you join us.
Yeah. And I do want to mention, you'll see it coming up at the end of the show, but you can also on our Discord post your pictures of your smart dolls in the Smarty Party channel, and they can make it up onto our weekly live stream here at the end of the show. So let's go back to Apparel.
To hit Tess's Kingdom.
Tess says, I love your channel so much. You deserve millions of subscribers. I don't think there's millions of subscribers to be had, but we would definitely love to expand, and we certainly, and I'm sure you can guess the channels that we're thinking of, but we certainly have sort of channels in my mind, the people that we watch that we kind of want to be at at the level of.
Right, definitely. So thank you for sharing that sentiment. That's really, really sweet. We love it.
If you're having any issues joining the Discord, make sure you put HTTPS at the beginning. Sometimes that can cause issues. Anyway, Apparel.
So we got the flight suit.
Yeah, we've got a couple of pictures of the flight suit. Danny, spread it out for us, will you?
That's a lot of pattern pieces for a smart doll.
Just, so you start to go, what are you covering up in here? This is interesting. They talk about, it's basically like where pockets are going, things like that. But this is like where you stop sewing, and assumedly that's the stand hole.
Janice Harding is on the same track as me. Gosh, that's a lot of pieces.
Yeah. Just look at this diagram.
You got the cuffs, you've got the pockets, you've got like facings on the inside, I'm sure. You've got there's lots of... It's
not lined, so that's something. Imagine having to do all of that twice. Yeah, this is very intricate. And we do get to see the two color versions. The orange is very cool. Just the utterly dirty, radioactive suit kind of thing.
Yeah, I like it. I think I like the orange better than the brown.
Yeah, because you're not big on camo, and that really just reads as camo, whereas this, to me, reads as just grunge.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very cool. We also have this. We've been talking about this. There's some weird stuff going on with underwear here, people.
I said, and it was funny because I think when this first came up, I said, I think this is either a new underwear set or a new bathing suit. And I think it's going to be, we're looking at one of the seamstresses or seamsters spots. So these are unfinished. But I think this is going to be like a new set where you have the dark gray with the light colored waistband and then the two layered pieces on the top. I think that's going to look really cool.
But the thing I do want to call out here is that all of these pieces have unfinished hems, unfinished edges,
right.
Except for the outside straps. And even here, this looks great. I mean, this looks like a real pair of panties without
right.
the band, those.
I have underwear like that don't have the elastic on them.
But this, you can see they're actually they've pinned the piece of elastic to here, and so are we gonna get weird sort of like those things where the band separates from like into two pieces, and you have like sort of angles kind of going up and around.
That would be really cool. If they put like the separation in there to make them just like a little bit more sexy, a little bit more interesting. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary. He's done this. The post-apocalyptic sets don't have the bra that comes with them doesn't have any kind of trim, and you technically do not have to finish jersey. Most people do, but you don't have to.
So maybe maybe you're right. It's some sort of layering. They're experimenting with it. Now we do have. I want to call out Foundation's picture. You can see her layering something very similar to this. Now, it's kind of curving over here, but this is similar idea underneath here, the like post-apocalyptic bra underneath a camisole. He's probably just messing around, but I definitely would be very cool to have like the straps, like strappy strappy underwear coming up
on the sides. Yeah, it's different for Smart Doll, but it would be cool.
Now here we have the Moko Moko. Wait, that's not a cardigan.
Nope, that is a pullover.
Well, the other one's not really a cardigan. And all right,
it's a zip-up hoodie.
Right,
He calls it a cardigan
because it does zip up versus just a pullover sweater.
So we have the pullover here. It looks like that is the color that we got in Chaos, but also written on the
sample
schematic
sheet, yeah.
Is the colors that were in the one that actually came out that wasn't Chaos.
Yeah, but here we do have the same thing showing the new, the pink and blue and everything.
I really like that. That's really cute.
So that's going to look very nice as a sweater. And I like it having it without color? No.
It's just it's
the color correction.
Yeah, color correction. Okay.
And the light and whatever. Now we have a couple small things to talk about in accessories. Here is what you were mentioning earlier. He's brought up a picture of the Biomech boots, and he's got one of each type. So if you haven't seen this I think it's probably on Instagram, you can certainly let us know. I would say comment on the video if you want to mark it here. But which do you prefer, the Biomech 1 or 2?
I am in Camp 1.
I am choking. Why are you in Camp 1?
I like the smoother, more finished effect. I like that the cuff on the top kind of looks like a bolt. Like a bolt. No, a nut.
Yeah.
Sorry. I like that, it looks more robotic. It leans more on the mech side and less bio, and I think I like that better.
I like what the number 2 does on the front here, that it looks like, and maybe it's just the angle. This looks like it sort of really flattens out right here. And I'm sure it doesn't, but it's just like the way it reads. But yeah, in general, I'm going to say overall design-wise, I'm with you. My vote would be for number 1. I would like to see a little bit more of the organicness from here.
I think the other thing I like about it is you could, if you were suffering for a pair of black shoes.
Kanal says 1.5.
If you were like, I need a pair of black shoes, I think Biomech 1, you could pull a pair of pants down over and it would just look more like a regular shoe.
Yeah.
Than Biomech 2 would.
Mimikyo says 1 is more traditional Android, while 2 is like a melted tire. Yeah, there's certain elements that read differently, probably because of the material that it is and the black vinyl. Yeah. So very cool. Definitely, Danny puts out stuff like this. Make your voice heard. He does listen to people. I mean, he doesn't want to produce things that people aren't gonna be that into buying.
He even asks. He was like, what dolls do you want to see in anime? What dolls do you want to see in semi-real?
Yep.
He asks. So yeah, let him know.
Janice says, "What about a bit of dry brushing to pick up the contours?" That is a great idea.
Mm-hmm. I could see rusting the Biomech one.
Yeah.
A warm dry brush on there would look really, really cool.
Yeah, I love that idea. I have a feeling he tends not to do too much like paint jobs on like the vinyl. I think it is gonna be what it's gonna be, but I think that's rife for people to add their own touches to. I think it's waiting for it.
Jenna says she's with Sandwy, and then she said, LMAO, it's not Sandy, it's Sandwy. We are fine with that.
They are the royal we, after all. And then here we have somebody designing more of the mech. Now this looks like, I'm gonna say this looks like a shin, a leg.
Am I the only one that thinks that the little hole thing at the bottom though looks like you're gonna inflate it?
And it could be, or no, that's too high for like a stand port or anything.
It looks like
it's like the drainage port.
Yeah, like where you could push the thing inside it, like after you've inflated something. That's what it looks like to me.
That's a court of Sandwy. It's you have become like a great old god. Sandway. All hail Sandway. She will consume the world. I can't quite make out exactly what this is, although if you look at some of the objects, did you get tired of having to look through her to see me? You could put her up there if you wanted to.
No, it's okay. She's fine. I just had to give everybody, if you want to keep looking at future, you can always just come back and pause.
It looks like there's a foot in there, something like that, but it's hard to tell. This could be, I don't know, a boot, maybe. Still just a bigger, thicker boot. It could be. Yeah. I would love to see more.
A taller boot?
Yeah, like an even taller boot.
I think that's what that could be, though. I think that could be a boot with some more height on it, because that looks like the back of a calf.
That's what I'm saying. It does kind of, but it could be the back of a, like, this could be the bottom, like, there.
That's true.
I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. I think we'll just be keeping our eyes out on that one.
That could be the new, that could be more work on the new prosthetic, too.
Yeah, who knows? And that brings us to the best part of the show, the Smarty Party, where we show you what your smart dolls have been doing all week. So this week, I believe, has been brought to you by Baggins Lover. And if I'm wrong, it's Lee. I'm sorry. So let's dig into the Smarty Party. We came to party all night long. Let's sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention. Don't need nobody else in our My phone is like connecting, but you won't be able to see it. But I did create the channel in the Discord. It just hasn't connected to finish it. So your wish is my command.
You're gonna have to explain this now because it's gone past in the chat.
The cult of Sandway now has a channel in the Discord. I demand once it finally actually completes itself. It's all role play all the time. Have at it. If it gets out of hand, I will shut it down and pretend it never existed. All right. So, I think there's already a message in there. So, we, of course, we love seeing all the things that your dolls are doing. We need to take a closer look at some of those. I mean, I'd have to dig through the files, but you were pointing out something that was...
There was like a belly dance type costume that was amazing.
Yeah. Love to see... it's so hard. I would encourage you to like pick a really good single phenomenal shot. Like the collages get a little bit tough to follow in 4 seconds to be able to pay attention to all the Discord, but all the details. But we will definitely pop on the Discord and go take a closer look at those. So we are now ready for your questions. I will say this. I will not take any questions regarding cults, Sandway, or any of the anything of the like.
That's I have to answer those. Right?
No, it does not exist. Do not talk about the cult of Sandway.
The cult of Sandway is in the Discord.
Hell. So pop the word question into your questions for us, and we will do our best to answer and discuss.
Magic Durgan says, can we look at the Coco girl in the background of the panty shot? I think she was wearing something different.
Okay. Yeah, yes, so she had this weird, like...
She has a bikini on with an elastic waist strap.
Yeah.
A bikini or a thong, it could be. We don't know. But yeah, that is actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Next up is... Come on, Sandy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading the next question. Where's Kanata, Danny?
Oh, so failed. You broke it.
It's broken.
Godhood has gotten to her head already. What already available smart doll is on your wish list?
We don't have a current Mirai. We've talked about getting a current Mirai at some point.
There's something about like the newer Mirai that just gets me. It sends me.
I would have to I think I would have to remind myself of what's out now.
That's gonna be hard too, because like what's actually literally available or what's a frontline girl. I will say one of the dolls, although she's gone now, so we missed her, right? What was it? It wasn't Starlight, was it? It was one of the dolls that was like one of my early choices.
Starlight was one, yeah.
So I missed her. You can...
Courage.
Yeah, we talked about Courage being, like, if money didn't matter right now, we would buy her.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like we have a few dolls that are coming that we think we're interested in, but what's on the list, there are definitely other dolls on the list. Yep. Maybe even Coco Relentless. I really kind of like the gold on the Coco skin tone.
Yeah, probably. Like all the Relentlesses. Mm-hmm. and then we'll just make them fight to the death and then sell off the ones we can. There's gonna be a point at which you're not gonna connect to each of them, but they're all gonna need their own names. Like the last time we did this, I started building an entire universe just to make room for the fact that we had multiple kabukis. All right. Tessa's Kingdom asks, is it hard to take Smart Doll's arms off and on, or are they fairly easy?
They're pretty easy.
Pretty easy. I mean, they can be a little bit stubborn sometimes, but there's the shoulder socket is essentially two pieces that are screw tightened to give it like the right amount of pressure. So technically that can be adjusted if you have any issues with the tightness. Not tight
Top
enough
half of the body and the feet, very, very easy to remove and put back.
Yeah. Knick-Knack Paddywhack asks, do you think it would be easy for me to adopt a male Smart Doll?
Today on Facebook, someone was selling their Lelouch.
That's true. Yeah.
So Lelouch shows up once in a while. People have like gotten him and then just decided that he's not getting enough attention. And
I mean, we're kind of getting there with our boy just because he's only one. There's no other boys. We haven't invested in clothes. He doesn't get much attention, and we're kind of like, all right, maybe we might think about that. Like,
yeah,
it's. I have a feeling like if you put out some ISO, posts on the Facebook groups, I think you can find something.
Yeah, put an ISO out there on Facebook, because sometimes people have them and they're like, maybe I'll sell at some point, and then they see a post where somebody wants, and they'll go, okay, well, how much are you willing to pay? That kind of thing.
Next two are kind of for you and sort of related. First is Kit Kat Crafts and K-Pop. It says, what new sewing project are you working on?
I am working on several different things at the same time. But the next question is getting answered.
Mika, are you planning to make a dress form for Smart Dolls since you sew?
I actually have in the works a fully complete, like all measurements correct with all the proper seam lines, etc., so that you can use them as guide work, that I am working on currently. I had the pattern made and I converted it to Smart Doll size, and I am...
You had the pattern made for Smart Doll proportions at human size, right?
And then shrunk it down. Then brought it down to the right size, and now it's going to have, it has like all the seams. It has seams here. It's got like neck seam, everywhere that you would need a seam to drape. I'm making it.
Yeah. Mimiko asks, what do you guys recommend for a clothing starter pack? This is funny. For someone's first doll, and what pieces of clothing to buy from where?
We just did a live.
Yep.
And opened surprise packages from TTYA. So I would definitely recommend going back and checking that out if you haven't already.
That whole surprise box was pretty much a good starter pack of basics.
Yeah, so TTYA, if you don't want, I mean, honestly, I seriously say I'm going to do this first of all. Boots, particularly the leather boots, and the jeans from CJ are an excellent use of your money.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to spend the money on the jeans from CJ, TTYA makes decent jeans, and we actually do show a pair in that live where we just unboxed, because we got some in our box.
Yep.
TTYA jeans fit pretty well. I also say go look at Elite Doll World. Get a few t-shirts from Elite Doll World some skirts, some leggings. Her leggings are not that expensive. I think they're like $12 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this all assumes you're not overly picky about style, because you could certainly look at Elite Doll World and not be into it. Like, you could look at any of these. You could look at TTYA. But Elite Doll World has more of a very specific style. But all knits easy to use, easy to wear, and well valued.
She has added some non-knit pieces in, but they're all usually like, I would say one of the great things about them is they are usually elasticized, or they tie in some way, or they just pull over, so they're easy dressing.
Check out the Getting Started playlist. I think it should be there on the channel. It'll have, of course, our before you buy stuff, but there's also we've done 2 where to buy clothes videos that kind of give you an overview of some different shops and what kind of clothes they have.
Also, make some stuff on your own. I mean, you can make smart doll clothes out of socks.
Yeah, you got you've got the t-shirt pattern.
I've got a t-shirt pattern that you can do very easily
Just literally like a square
out of an old t-shirt of your own. And then I know Magical Girl Kit Kat has a video where she made a bunch of things out of socks. Beth Ramsden recently did a great Maury Girl pattern this past week that she released for free. Mm-hmm. So definitely check those out.
Kanal Zoom Commentieren says, I just ordered my first smart doll. I'm not getting anything else for my birthday this year. And I want to make clothes for her. What kind of fabric would be good for that?
Okay, fabrics. Fabrics, you're going to use most of the same things that you would use for people clothes. You want to pay attention to things like if you're really into like looking realistic, don't buy thick leather. Buy a thinner vinyl that looks like leather.
Drape and like thickness of the fabric makes a big difference.
Right, because you're dealing with a 1/3 scale. So when you take a thick fabric and you bring it down to a 1/3 size scale, it's going to look a lot bulkier and chunkier. Yeah. And that can work for you or against you.
And you also don't have enough fabric, nearly as much fabric underneath to actually weigh down the fabric and make it lay as nicely. So that was when I found it really interesting to discover Culture Japan uses crepe a lot as a really sort of nice drapey. It's a little bit like heavier fabric, but it drapes really nicely in comparison to like just lightweight cotton and stuff like that.
Right. Look for things. Smart dolls can stain. You can stain treat them, but if you want to avoid staining altogether, avoid fabrics that have a lot of dark dye on the inside. And if you do buy those fabrics, which sometimes you just can't avoid it, it's what you want, make sure you wash them first and try and remove as much of the dye as you possibly can.
What can you do when joints get looser? From Zenjavanaz. Sorry. I usually do try to do a good job. We kind of talked about this. Danny's got some videos that I would suggest watching, some of his maintenance videos. Some of like the shoulder, actually, like there's actually a screw that you can put in there. I want to say it's not like oil or something like that. If they're too loose, I want to say you can get in there and sand and basically give it some grip. So some of the posts and things.
But definitely look at Danny's videos, the Smart Doll videos. He actually has put a lot out there for correcting some minor issues with your Smart Doll.
Like there was the whole floating head thing when the doll like would just start turning heads, and like he goes into how to fix that. I would definitely look at the culture. Well, no, it's Danny Chu is the channel.
Okay. I do want to go back to Kenal's question, because I believe it was you who asked us a couple of weeks ago, how do you convince your parents that a Smart Doll is a good investment? Correct me if I'm wrong. And so I'm curious if that was you, and who did you end up getting?
Yeah, good. I was gonna save it for like the they'll get a call out when they come, probably next week, but we're gonna be behind, so I guess not. We're not that far behind. Well, no, we're a little bit far behind. Here, let me scroll down here. Kyle says, I always wash fabric. It's a thing, and that's generally a good idea. No, that was responding to something else. All right. Kelly asks, why wouldn't Danny release those boys? Um,
Um,
time.
there's a lot of dolls available right now. I'm assuming that the girls sell better than the boys.
I mean,
for one thing.
it's not like he has like a stockpile of boys. He's, as far as we understand, the last we knew, he was developing a new boy frame because he still has not been satisfied with the right proportions in the boy frame and various things.
I mean, I think we will see more boys simply because we know he's working on Light Yagami and he's been working on Naruto. So I think and he uses those licenses to research and develop new things for the regular line. So, I mean, I'm assuming that boy is in the works, but we don't know when we're going to see it.
Yeah, my guess is those, like Naruto and such, are not going to have new bodies. That would be my guess. So any boy bodies that he's making is probably stockpiling for those dolls. But we'll see. My guess is Pocket Doll will probably come out before a boy at this point. It just doesn't seem to be something he's overly interested in. Knick-Knack Patter says, "Can I adopt your cutie?" Because we were talking about Q, which is kind of funny. We'll let you all know. Yeah. We'll let you know if Quentin is actually going up for adoption or not. It's something that we occasionally discuss.
We know that is like, oh my God, I gotta have your. Like when we say we're thinking about it, people are gonna be like, make me first. But like,
it'll be up in the Discord if it's something real.
Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, we have some other YouTubers who have expressed interest as well. So.
Niji-san, glad to see you here. It's been a while. How would you feel about wings for dolls, either mecha wings or angel wings, or why wouldn't, like, how would I feel about, why don't I have wings for dolls? That's the question.
Yes, please.
I've spent many a day looking at Etsy, looking at like the fairy wings of various sizes, trying to find something that might work. I think one of our things that we'd like to try, which I think is on the more advanced end, but would be to make a wing frame, a 3D print a frame for it, and then decorate it or whatever.
I think fairy wings will probably come for us first because I have the means to make them. So,
Akiroka says, "Do you think Danny would make or create sneakers for Smart Dolls?"
I think he's done it before.
Yeah, when he was in the more modern casual,
like in the early stages, there were sneakers.
I mean, there's some decent sneakers out there. It can be hard to find stuff, but you posted those really cheapo ones.
Yeah, I mean, Future, here she is again. She's wearing a pair of them. I got 14 pairs of sneakers on Amazon for a total of $31. And they were all, except for like, there were 2 duplicates in color. The rest were all different shades. So...
question: have you tried the boy CJ jeans on a girl?
Yes, they look very cute. They're just a little bit more relaxed. They're not quite as fitted and sexy.
Yeah. Kelly, can you post the contact info for any good face-up artists, please? I need someone for body art tattoos. So, I mean, obviously, we love Katie Moore. She's often in our chat here. And
she's
So.Spice. There's a bunch out there, and I don't know, other than Katie, I don't have them off on the top of my head. But what I would say is, like, put a post up on, like, Facebook about what you're looking for specifically. Mm-hmm. Basically, give them a brief because, face up is one thing. Body tattoos and tattoo drawing is just, I mean, it's like, are they comfortable with the art style? And are they drawing on, like, not a face, but like just like the arms can be a little bit tougher to work
Honestly,
with.
I've thought about doing the same thing, but I've thought about like actually asking like a tattoo artist because they often do like they draw their designs first before they actually start tattooing somebody most of the time. So you got somebody who is an artist and knows how to position something on the curve, you know, and might have a particular style that you like, you know, say you wanted traditional Japanese or something like that. Maybe somebody who does that would, you know, want the money on the side.
Yeah, the tough thing is just scale. So,
yeah.
I would put it out on Facebook for and look for somebody who's done it before. They exist. I obviously don't speak for Katie, but I'm sure we probably have talked about this. I don't remember her mentioning having tried it yet.
No, and she's very sought after too. She has developed quite the list of people that are giving her commissions, but she does open them. So,
you'd have to track, you know, her Instagram or any artist's Instagram and see, because a lot of them will open commissions at a particular point in time. All right. John Dean, Sandy, have you finished your doll form? Have you given any thought to releasing the doll form pattern used for Discord exclusive, maybe?
The answer to that is I will not be releasing the pattern. When I get the pattern to the point where I feel like I can produce it at a price that isn't exorbitant, I will probably start selling the finished forms. The pattern that I bought, I mean, I guess I've done a lot of conversion to it, but I still don't feel like it's mine to sell. So yeah. I can sell the finished product.
Marlo asks, has Mirai ever been in tea?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I don't know if it was a long release or something, but I know people have had her. She's been in Coco too.
Mirai T. There she is.
Yep, no plans to restock, but there she is. Yeah, if you're looking for a particular doll that you can't find pictures of, if she's not showing on the Smart Doll site, oftentimes you can actually type it into the search and you will find the old pictures.
Janice asked, I don't think I basically said this at the end of the statement, but asked if I could, maybe I could design a 3D wings or frame. Those things exist. I could definitely work something out, and I think it's probably one of my goals. My big thing that I'm trying to work towards is being able to do specific props for for all of our blue girls. Mm-hmm. Specifically, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do a throne and stuff like that for them, and how to build that up. But let's see. Derek does dolls. Who's your favorite Smart Doll?
Future.
Yeah. Literally, I can't show you.
Our favorites are on either side of the monitor that's in front of us right now.
So Sandy's got Future over on the left, and I've got, technically Ray, Everyday Ray, which is our custom version of Kabuki.
By Katie Moore.
Yep. Niji-san, are you thinking about making mini-me versions of yourselves at some point? Kind of hard with the lack of boy parts, but I don't know. Not me. Not really.
He has boy parts.
Yes.
That's not what he was saying.
Not that there's anything wrong
with not having boy parts. Not saying that. Just wanted to clarify.
You fucking broke me. Oh, I just under my breath swore on the live stream. Hopefully no one noticed. Yeah. Okay.
Just broke that one.
Did you have? Are you gonna do a mini me?
I've actually joked about it before. I have multiple dolls that are my internal mini me.
Okay, all right. Lee just nailed it on the head. Forget mini-me's. Will you ever make Benedict and Beatrice?
Okay. When we first started, that's actually a really astute question.
And let's define for anybody who Benedict and Beatrice is.
Benedict and Beatrice are the main comedic characters in the couple in Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. Benedict and Beatrice John and I were very much Benedict and Beatrice when we first started getting together. Yeah. And it's just that Beatrice is probably my favorite character, which is where my Lady Disdain came from. So we have talked in the past about we were going to do it with puppets. We were going to do Shakespeare scenes with puppets, but we could do them with smart dolls.
Yep.
And so we've discussed doing that before. So Beatrice and Benedict as smart dolls would actually be kind of fun.
Yeah, we'll probably try and experiment. My only concern, there's even just what I'm learning now, trying to do some storytelling with smart doll. Unless you get into stop motion or CGI'd faces, there's some barriers for emotional connection to the dolls. They're you want movement, you want interest, you want all these things. I wonder, and I think it'll be good to try a scene. It needs to be a scene. Doing a monologue would be insanity to me, but a scene with dialogue where you can at least flip between characters and doing different things. I wonder if the limitations of the dolls would get in the way, and the combination of that with the difficulty maybe of understanding the text and really trying to grok it, if there might be any issues.
Yeah, sometimes it's a lot. I mean, I've always said that Shakespeare is easy to understand if the people who are speaking understand what they are saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to see faces and things like that in order to understand it if Shakespeare is not incredibly accessible to you.
Yeah. Because there's so much context and things implied through facial reactions and things like that. So it definitely would be a challenge and something that we definitely want to experiment with and work up towards.
Should we have a Shakespeare night in Discord? I'll bust out some monologues.
Well, yeah, that'd be interesting. I'll make a. It'll. That is how one worships the Sandway.
I thought we weren't talking about that.
Sorry. Canal says, when do you think the pocket dolls will come out? I need to plan my money-saving game. Well, first of all, don't plan on anything that we say.
Yeah, we don't have that.
Because he'll drop that stuff like that.
Yeah. We have some educated guesses, but we are not that educated, if you understand what I'm saying.
I want to, my guesstimate, the safe guesstimate is not this year. That's what I feel is a pretty safe guesstimate.
Your money-saving game, you will start saving for Pocket Doll, and he will release something else that you have to have. So I would just,
I start working on a smart doll budget, basically.
Yeah, basically start thinking about what your smart doll budget is.
Derek does dolls. How many smart dolls do we have now? No idea.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. We've gotten a few more.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know.
Educated guess is fine. I don't know. I'm gonna guess 25.
Somewhere around there. I think it's less. I think it's between 20
and 25. I know we hit 20 and then slowed down a lot.
And
then
got, I think educated guess is about when is Pocket Doll coming out.
Right.
Maybe holidays, maybe next year.
Nico Sagiburo says, I wouldn't be surprised if he dropped them for Christmas. I would be, because they tend not to do that much stuff. Dropping for, well, I guess it depends on what you define by dropping for Christmas, but we've yet to see him do, holiday drops. He does it when they're ready.
No, yeah, he'll do, he did some utter chaos with one of the characters having like a Santa suit or stepping out of a sack or something, but that's about what you get.
And we've seen the yearly rush, springtime, and we're sort of kind of out of it now. I think he's kind of done with the big rush that he was talking about in May and June and everything. But springtime tends to be the like when all the new dolls come out, new faces at least. When's he gonna drop this? Who knows? Like I don't think he doesn't. I don't believe he thinks about things like Black Friday or things like the holidays. Like the holidays are a time for them to take time off. Like that. It's not bust our butts trying to get this out for. And he also doesn't push his team to hit dates. So I don't know. I don't see it. Unless coincidentally.
Yeah, maybe end of the year, but I think next year. I think early next year is my guess. But I mean, if you look at things like like Future, he first gave her a name a year ago.
Yep.
And she hasn't come out yet. So it's really hard. He puts new things in priority all the time. So it's hard to say what's going to happen.
Yeah. So we'll see. And we'll look for updates. It's been pretty quiet on that front, but they've been busting their butt trying to get out all these new dolls.
Yeah, I mean, he has specifically said that Perseverance is coming up. Like they were prioritizing Perseverance, and I think it was anime Relentless, maybe. There was another. It might have been Courage, actually. It might have just been Courage and Perseverance.
Yeah.
That were being prioritized. So Perseverance should be coming before long.
I think Derek just does ask again. What's a dream doll that we both want? And it's like, so. I guess it depends on what you define as dream doll. Whether it's the Grail license doll or all the things which we talk about like every week. Like you want Comey and
I want Comey. If I would go even further than that, I want Marin Kitagawa with a full wardrobe.
Like a full legit. It'd be interesting to see what he would do. With Marin, because
I'll be surprised if Volks doesn't do Marin because of all the clothes.
Yeah, it's just Marin Kitagawa wants like semi-real face with bigger anime eyes. Like it's a sort of weird. Like he could do some really interesting stuff, mixing molds kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, Kat did a beautiful version of Marin Kitagawa for me, but I'm just saying, like, I would like this concept doll that came with, like, all these
like
clothes.
A full... Yeah. I mean, no matter what, it's like, you can only often get so far trying to put something together on your own. And it is both, it both will always probably pale to what like something Danny can do. But at the same time, like be way better because it was exactly, what you wanted. And it was, made by somebody, so there's, it's tough. I see it when I see it. Like I don't even have anything right now. I'm not looking.
Yeah, I want Comey. That's my biggest. I need Comey in my life.
Comey with multiple heads.
Yes, Comey with multiple heads. Yep.
All right. What is Niji-san, what is your must-have item? This is going to be the last question. Your must-have item for first time. I'm assuming first time.
What must-have item for doll collectors? I'm assuming, like, are you talking about, like, care? If you're talking about, like, care stuff, I would say definitely a good wig brush. Trying to think what else.
I mean, I'm assuming it's...
A decent camera.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
At the
because
very
we
least on
talk
your
about
phone.
clothes all the time. You know, like get the jeans and all that stuff. So a different. I mean, my question always is like, why do you want to collect them? And invest in those areas? Is it you want to put them up on a pedestal? You know, like I know collectors that have like invest in really great acrylic cases and things like that are custom, you know, fitting them. Nico Asagi's says storage is a must-have because your collection will grow fast.
Very quickly.
That is definitely true. Figuring out, you know, how you want to manage things like clothes. You know, are you happy with just a few clothes, or, you know, like for me, like photography, it's like it's got to be a different outfit every time. So the collection grows. So like, yeah, how are you going to store them? You know, carrying, I don't know, there's so much.
There's a lot of stuff. I mean, like, you know, then there's like cleaning stuff, like things for doll maintenance.
We did say that was the last question, but I will do one last one, which is from Whistlebeans Babies. Sorry if you've already answered this before, but have you seen if Survivor is coming out in anime?
No, but if you want that, make the suggestion to Danny, because not too long ago he was asking, you know, what dolls
who do you want to flip?
Right.
Yeah.
Who would you like to flip? Who's an anime that you want to see in semi-real? Who's semi-real that you want to see in anime? And actually, I think Anime Survivor would be really cool.
Well, so here's a good point. We talk about the representation girls. What representation girl do you want to see in flipped back? Because a lot of the new ones are going semi-real. You know, like, do we want to see an anime Cleft flip girl? Anime acne, you know, like, are we gonna see anime pride and foundation? Are we gonna see, you know, like, I'm sure it's not like necessary for him because he's sort of checked his box. But some of those could look very cool in anime, and seeing what he did with anime Relentless, she looks amazing. Certainly comment in our on our video. I know Danny does catch the lives, and so you can contact. You know, you can try leaving a message that way. You could try at, you know, mentioning like on Twitter or something like that, or Twitter and Instagram, or catch one of his posts and comment on it. He tends to be pretty good about going through and like at least liking the various posts on comments on Instagram. So he is at least skimming them and does respond to certain things. If it's too off topic, I don't know, maybe he won't, but something to try. And on that note, of course, you can catch us here again next week for another Smart Doll News, and hopefully also the Project Batgirl, if I still have my sanity by the end of this week. We haven't
had dinner yet, so we're gonna go. That's all for us, guys. Bye.
Have a good one.